Morning, guys. Welcome to Renew, a daily devotional for you. And I've been waiting to say that phrase for a little while now. My name is Damon Grego, and before you judge me, I am sitting in my daughter's room, so that's why it looks like a little girl, okay? But like I said, my name is Damon. I used to work at Mainland quite a few years ago. Now I have the privilege of leading the college and career singles, 20-somethings up at Solid Rock Baptist Church. That's right up the White Horse Pike. But for Renew today, I have a simple thought for you, and it's this. Whose voice are you following? Whose voice are you following? John 10:27 says, "My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me." I don't know if you've ever considered this or thought about the fact that we as humans have an incredible ability to be able to decipher and to identify probably thousands of voices. I mean, if we were to play a game right now and called Voice Identity, and I took a collection of voices that you've heard throughout your lifetime, voices of old teachers and coaches and classmates that you haven't seen in years, your church family, the guy at Dunkin' Donuts, your old doctor, all these voices that you've heard throughout your years, I think you'd fare very well. I don't know how to explain it. I think it just comes down to one of those fearfully and wonderfully made factors that God's given us to be able to have ears that can just decipher voices without seeing faces. It's pretty incredible. I thought about doing this video in New York City because I'm going to be there today, but I'm not quite on Brother Mike's level. I feel like that's something that he would do, where you have all these voices, and I feel like I'd get distracted trying to give you takeaways. So I'll leave that stuff to Brother Mike. But the question is, whose voice are you following? Every single day we have voices that are thrown at us, right? And in a spiritual sense, I can name a few. We have the voice of temptation. That's rough, right? There's a voice of doubt, the voice of fear. We have these voices of reasoning that are really good at grasping our attention. And if you're a child of God, you have the voice of truth as well. And the question is, whose voice are we following? January 1st is right around the corner, and I know there's going to be quite a few New Year's resolutions, and I hope you'll have some. Some of them may be dieting or financial planning or whatever it is. I would be very hesitant to treat following the voice of truth and denying these voices as a New Year's resolution. For me to go in and say, I'm going to just not do this, that, the third. I'm going to not follow that temptation that I've struggled with all year long and just, turn over a new leaf. For me to do that, that might last me 17 days, maybe a month, but at some point I'll fall flat on my face. You can't treat it like that. That's just not how it works. John 8:47 says, "He that is of God heareth God's words." He that is of God heareth God's words. I think that we know God's will better than what we put on. I know that we make it to be, sometimes we overcomplicate it, make it seem like it's some mystical thing. But a lot of times when it comes to trying to abstain from the voice of temptation, or every day we have choices we have to make. Some days we do well and we overcome. Some days we fall flat in our face. And every day we're met with that choice. And the days where we get overcome with the wrong voice, it's because it's the voice that's closest to us. And when we fall into that trap, what happens is there's these voices of reasoning, right? And we can come up with reasons of why it's okay to do these things that are wrong. And instead of trying to follow after what we know to be right, I can find somebody around me who is a good person who will validate, the voice of validation, who will validate the things that I want to do. But just as that baby who's still in the womb, we understand that the dad can go to mommy's belly and talk to that belly. And throughout those months, when that baby is born, that baby will recognize mommy and daddy's voice, the voices that were closest to that baby. And for us, we have to get God on the phone and shoulder him all the day long. And it's the same thing you've heard. through sermon, after devotion, after teaching, it's getting into the Word of God. It's being close to His voice. I think about Elijah in 1 Kings 19 when that earthquake and there was an earthquake, there was the wind, there was the fire. God was not in those things. God was in the still small voice. He spoke in a still small voice. And for us to be able to follow the right voice, we have to get close to the voice of truth. We have to draw nigh to Him so He will draw nigh to us. And every day, if we can be committed to God, you can look at something and say, man, a whole month, can I follow the voice of truth? That's tough. But if you look at it and say, man, 24 hours a day, can I follow the voice of truth? I think all of us could say yes. And if we have a daily walk with God, I believe that we will follow the right voice, following the voice of truth. I hope that's a help to you. Literally just a few minutes a day, I think. Challenge yourself to get into the Word of God. I know it's tough, but I hope that's a help to you. Let's make sure that we follow the right voice. Love you guys. Peace.